Hi, beautiful people. How are you? I hope you're having a great day. Today, I wanted to talk about post-traumatic fibromyalgia. Is it different from fibromyalgia or what they used to call spontaneous fibromyalgia? What can we do about it? Let's have a discussion. Here we go. I ran across an article on the nationaltriallawyers.org website. A woman from Pennsylvania in 2015 received a $315,000 settlement from a car accident because she suffered what they called post-traumatic fibromyalgia. That terminology was popular in the 1980s and 90s, but you don't really hear it nowadays. But I'll get into more of that here shortly. In this court case, the woman was rear-ended by a truck, which sent her straight into the rear end of the car in front of her. She had pre-existing cervical and lumbar degenerative spondylosis, which had resolved prior to the accident. The expert witness was Dr. Leventhal, a rheumatologist. He was prepared to tell the jury, quote, "The theory on how trauma can initiate a generalized myofascial pain syndrome like fibromyalgia is that subsequent to the trauma in which there are soft tissue injuries, the process known as central sensitization takes place, in which the pain centers continue to perceive ongoing pain impulses, despite the fact that there should be normal resolution of these impulses with healing," unquote. The woman was not immediately diagnosed with post-traumatic fibromyalgia. Instead, she endured 2 years of painful but fruitless medical treatments for pain in her neck and back, also anxiety and nightmares about the accident, and depression as a result of pain and loss of work and the hobbies she loved. Then in December of 2015, she was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, post-traumatic fibromyalgia. The pain had evolved into her arms, shoulders, lower back, and legs. Fibromyalgia was the result of the car crash. Her injuries will be lifelong and require ongoing treatment, and her prognosis is poor since fibromyalgia is a chronic pain syndrome, said the physician. That's basically how the article ends. I'd love to know how she's doing today. Fibromyalgia may be a life sentence, but it doesn't mean our life is over. It means a new beginning and a new way of life. A research article in 1994 followed 176 individuals between 1980 and 1990 who had a diagnosis of post-traumatic fibromyalgia. 60.7% were involved in a motor vehicle accident when their symptoms began. 14.3% after various traumatic events, 12.5% after a work injury, 7.1% after surgery, and 5.4% after a sports-related injury. The article stated that post-traumatic fibromyalgia is similar to spontaneous fibromyalgia. So that's curious. Today, I don't think there's a difference, but I would agree that there may be subgroups of us who haven't endured the kind of trauma that I just mentioned, but ongoing stress is also a huge factor, which I believe was my pitfall. The terminology of spontaneous is what caught my eye. In my mind, fibromyalgia occurs over time. That's how I develop symptoms, and pretty much anybody that I know that I've discussed this topic with. So, not spontaneously. Did you wake up one day and have all over muscle pain that never went away? Or did it evolve? I wonder if spontaneity is more related to people with another chronic illness who potentially woke up one day and had all over body pain. I don't know. I'd love to hear from you, but it doesn't really seem to fit. I might be wrong, but if that's what happened to you, because the literature does say that some people develop fibromyalgia for no apparent reason or trigger. And again, just let me know in the comments section. I just couldn't find anything online that said, woohoo, here I am. It's more of a progression of symptoms and pain. And then one day you say, hey, I know this isn't normal, and I need to have this checked out. Maybe those people aren't thinking about the multiple sinus infections they got, potentially, or the times they had a virus, or the fact they have diabetes, or another immune condition or autoimmune condition. In fact, many people wake up with pain and stiffness, but it usually subsides throughout the day. It may be from a poor mattress. Maybe they overexercised the day before. Maybe they have a pillow that puts their neck in an uncomfortable position. Or maybe they're just coming down with an illness. And sometimes it's just part of the aging process. In addition, too little exercise can cause similar symptoms, but a poor mattress, a bad pillow, sleeping uncomfortably, coming down with a illness, well, you're just not going to wake up one day and have lifelong pain. It's usually a short-term process. In addition, too little exercise can cause similar symptoms. And again, that might be short-term. But for those of us with fibromyalgia, the symptoms are ongoing and lifelong. Sure, they may wax and wane. We'll have good days and then really bad days. But overall, the myriad of symptoms are never ending. There are ways to improve your fibromyalgia symptoms. Please see this video for suggestions. It's about self-care. And at the end of that video, I take down my Christmas tree, so don't feel obliged to watch that, but it's kind of fun for me, I suppose. Obviously, there's medication that gets us to a point of being able to function, unless you're unable to take or tolerate medications. But maybe that video will help with suggestions on how to calm your nervous system down. Another study found that 75% of fibro patients have experienced trauma. But remember, trauma can affect anyone in the general population too. Not all get fibromyalgia. That study found that 52% of healthy individuals had experienced a traumatic event. That's probably where genetics or sleep conditions come into play for those who then go on to develop fibromyalgia. Also, those with fibro receive their diagnosis anywhere from 2 to 14 years after their trauma. For anyone suffering from trauma, therapy can help. One study found that 60% of patients who received therapy had reduced symptoms of depression. So, does that mean that the vast array of other symptoms isn't supported? I don't think so, because once you get depression under control, other symptoms might lighten up. Is it a cure? No, but you will feel a whole heck of a lot better. So I know I've said this 3 times already. Tell me about your experience. I'd love to hear about it. I send you gentle hugs and support. Love you. In addition to little exercise, we'll